Hello, my beautiful darlings. I am so glad you're here. This is a small Temu haul. It's 3 dies, but what I wanted to show you was how to take these apart. If you are new to die cutting and you see these things and you're kind of like, what is this? I wanted to kind of guide you and help you kind of get to know these things more on a one-on-one basis. So these are called metal dies, and we use them with a machine that will press them. So if you know what a Cricut is, it basically does the same thing on a manual level. So one of the tools you're going to need to cut these is going to be a wire cutter. The wire cutter is going to help you be able to take these things apart and make it a whole lot easier on you. Now you can take some of these apart, as you will see, with your hands, and I do try to use my hands as much as possible. The reason being is because some of these pieces will shoot off at you. It is always good to wear goggles to protect your eyes because, again, these pieces can shoot up, and when they shoot off, they can shoot off extremely far. I typically do not have my kids around when I am cutting dies, and I typically am working by myself, so I don't hurt anybody, and I always sweep these pieces up. They're very sharp. They shoot off all over the place. So I do have some tips to prevent all of that from happening. But again, no matter how much precaution, sometimes these things will still shoot off. I have been cut by these metal dies before, so you have to be extremely, extremely careful, you guys. So my first tip is to do as much with your hands. Try to take these apart with your hands as much as possible, and typically I will pull in an upward angle when I do that. It doesn't really matter, but that's just kind of what I do. And then with the tool, if you notice, I will always pull down at a downward angle. I try not to use the cutting part. So when you have dies that are extremely easy, which those you can take apart by your hand, you do not need any tool. Sometimes on the very hard, you will have to use the clipper part where you're going to have to actually cut it in half. So typically what I'm doing with this is that I'm actually holding it and I'm not cutting it. I'm holding it and I pull it down away from me, and that will prevent from these pieces shooting off. This is a medium range. It's not too easy, not too hard. So that's why I'm able to just pull down and it'll just break on its own. So if you see, these are just so fun though. I absolutely love these. Once you're done cutting these, you will then put it into your die cutting machine, and there's so many brands out there, so you can kind of pick and choose. You can even start off with a small one. I know Temu has like a small little $30 die cutting machine, and you can kind of start off small, and if you really enjoy it, you can work yourself up to a bigger one. I have an extremely large one from Spellbinders is the one that I go with, and I absolutely love that machine. I've always been with Spellbinders. I really like the width and the length. It is like a full-size paper. You can kind of fill up you can cut a lot of die cuts all at the same time. So one of my other tips is to mass make. Once you get these things going, just mass make, because it makes it easier when you're crafting if you can mass make and just put things in a bag and label everything. This is a little bag that I got from the Dollar Tree. I use these for my die cuts to keep them organized, and then I'll just title like Temu haul or Temu dies or something. So I really, really like keeping these organized, and I will know, from what place came from what. But I hope you guys enjoyed and hopefully got some tips on how to use metal dies, and I send you all much love and many blessings.